Hello, this is Ken, your podcast preacher, and I want to welcome you back to Deep Waters. This podcast is brought to you by Applied Strengths Ministry, where we believe working together in our strengths is the effect of working out the will and calling of God in our lives. The title of this message is Drinking, Gambling, and Sexing Responsibly. This is a multi-episode series in which this is episode 2 of 6. So what I'm trying to say here is that the wealthy only answers if money is indeed the answer. The top 10% could eliminate poverty. However, like a dog that returns to its own vomit, we would eventually digress. And why? Because money is indeed not the solution or the problem. Again, not an attack on the wealthy. Live it up. If everyone had the same amount of money, including governmental systems and employees, we would still have a planetarium problems galore. Besides, I know how hard I work, and I have seen some of the laziest mammals on the planet, and would not in my wildest dreams want them to be earning the same salary as I do. In fact, my perfect world, and it's not perfect, would be that people who would be compensated for what they do, how much they do of it, and the excellence in which they do it. Laziness would get the salary commensurate to a lazy effort, period. But again, this would not solve the world problems, because as we have seen throughout history, people oftentimes want other people's stuff without doing what they did to get it. Example, we have seen how some use justice to commit robbery on their neighbors by breaking windows and pilfering what does not belong to them, and all in the name of justice and laziness. So if you're wondering if I'm up to something, yes, grab a beer and hang out. Now this business model can be used in any industry. If you're a statistician, the world is your oyster. Look, compare the statistics of the benefits of the existence of a product and the statistics of the curse of the product. The government should have all the data. Imagine if we had this information and made decisions as to whether or not we should sell a product based on both the good and the evil effects. Now this would solve many of our woes, right? Nope, we would still have planetarium problems galore. You see, this type of thinking comes from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Some people call evil good, and some people call good evil. Again, but this is not a rant against any of what has been mentioned so far, although it could be. But I assure you that if everyone straightened up, none of it would change a thing. I mean, come on somebody, how long does it take to get our planetary stuff together? Are you hoping that everything will line up and one day all of humanity will roll out of bed and say, you know, today I feel like serving others, or today I'm going to give 10% of my wealth away to the first 100 people I see, and not introduce myself? We can't. They can't. Nope, we won't. All of the technology advancements in medicine, etc., keeping in mind things have always advanced since Adam left his footprints in the Garden of God, won't lead us to a paradisian utopia. It actually seems like as we advance, we also decline. Are we in a race to somehow tip the scales of human survival the other way? More on that later, as I still feel some of you need some more data. As long as there are humans to consume and money to be made, the industry, practices, purposes, and profit goals won't change. They may open up yet another hospital to distract you from what they peddle, but they won't change. You see, they too are addicted to stuff, including the lifestyle that money can slot a person in. Perhaps the slogan, "Be rich responsibly," should be touted wild media style. Nope, people with wealth can be just as irresponsible as the carjackers of America. Besides, what better way to trick a fish but to throw a lure out in the water that looks like a smaller version of itself? I'm using these illustrations because they are real, and the entire process from beginning to end, that is, from purchasing the real estate to grow the crops to retail distribution is considered, right? Nope. I also included the negative impacts, only some, because I only have one lifetime to finish this message. So only some of the issues that are caused by alcohol are represented in this story. To look at the product as a whole, completely 360 in its entirety. It's like the gun issue, which is not the issue in my mind. Let's drive for a minute. So you have bad guys who have guns, and they shoot both bad guys and good guys, who may not have a gun handy to stop the bad guy. Take away the guns from the good guys because the bad guys will always have guns. And what have we done? No. Take a minute. Now really think about this scenario, because that is the best solution that many people believe will stop the bad guys. Our best, or at least some of them, and brightest believe, and I don't believe they believe it being the words coming out of their mouth, that disarming the good guys will in any way, in any way, stop the bad guys from being bad and finding a way to continue to be a bad guy. That is that. That is what I'm talking about. Save the world. But we can't even see our way out of some of the more simpler issues running amok. Take away the guns from the good guys and watch, see, and listen to the blind bat who is flying around in the daylight saying, "We never saw it coming." And this is why taking away the guns will not achieve the desired goals or outcomes. It seems that we cannot even chat about this issue without the good guys wanting to shoot the other guys, while of course the bad guys watch the event while holding up another liquor store. But then again, though not a rant against them, I will continue to use this message to make a truth point. I will use their bait, since they overwhelm the airwaves with the decrepit idiosyncrasies, to make a related point. Are all commercials bad? Is this even about commercials? All businesses, all organizations, all industries, all churches? Nope and yes. I thought I would throw that last one in because if we're doing our jobs as Jesus expects us to, and will some glorious day judge us for, then perhaps there would be less of this stuff going on. Perhaps all the stupid people would actually move to the moon. I got first dibs on starting a coffee franchise called Moonbucks. It's funnier than that. No, we cannot do away with all of the things that make messes, because it's people. At the very core of issues, it is people that are the problem. And this was, and is a problem that has been solved. What? Yep, we the people are an evil people from the beginning of time, and have manifested that evil against God through the vine of sin from the very first human creation. Are you now saying, Ken, that alcohol is not the issue? Well, if we didn't sin, would we actually see a need for it? It would be enjoyed rather in the context of what it is made of. Some of it isn't necessary, but to numb a person's brain from the issues because they have not been taught or shown how to deal with the issues. Freedom of speech for them, and you know who they are, and yes, it may be you, now or later, but without God to steer your boat, surely you will make your contribution to the digression of humanity. If you really want to know the point of this message, it is to take your eyes off the hooks of the industry and for you to see your deliverance from it. There is only one option, and it is not to drink the punch. Nope. It is a proven option and one that, although the forces of hell have tried to disprove and completely wipe off the face of the earth, and now have and will fail, and that option is Jesus. Now I have a message or 8 on the subject of 2. 2 seeds, 2 animals, sheep and goats, 2 fathers, God and Satan. 2 people groups, Satan's kids or God's children. 2 disciple groups, those that remain or those who don't. 2 ministry peeps, the real and the false. 2 trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. 2 philosophies, right and wrong, or righteousness and unrighteousness. Should I go on because I can? LOL. The idea of 2 in this world shows that the opposite of a good thing is usually at war with it, unless it too is good. We know not all things are good, and that in these last days it looks like good is losing the fight. Trust me when I say this, but this generation has not seen the full manifestation of just how evil man can act, especially under the influence of the devil. And like they did in the beginning when they killed Jesus, we today are killing God. We're telling him we don't want him. We're worshiping the devil and turning him into a god. I know, it's kind of stupid. And trust me, there are many Christians out there, or at least with the Christian label, doing the same thing, thinking they're doing something different. It's in the Bible. So if you need context, see this as a magnifying glass message. I want you to see the hook for what it is. Don't allow the industry to define your intelligence. Just because they say it, it doesn't mean it's true. Just because they teach it doesn't mean it should be learned and adopted. How can you, on the one hand, sell cigarettes and alcohol in mass volumes, separating yourself from any responsibility of what happens to a neighborhood that is negatively affected by these products, while at the same time saying that we care in any manner of sentence structure? Now, if you're advertising with something like this, come and buy our drinks and our cigarettes, Eventually one or both will kill you, but we don't care. It's your responsibility to determine how much to drink and smoke, not ours. That's not the commercial that's going to run. If you suspect a conflict of interest in business practice in terms of profit versus impact, well, there may be a conflict of interest. I initially left out the insurance industries, pharma makers and distributors, alike because, well, I shouldn't. Look, I have a hard time believing that an insurance company cares at all for my well-being. Yes, they don't want me to get into an accident because it will cost them money. And they are not in the money-losing business. They are 100% in the money-making business. It's all about managing risks. So if you get into one too many accidents or get one too many tickets, bing, off the Christmas list. You can refer them back to as many of their commercials as you want, but it won't matter. They won't change their mind. And the fact that it is mandatory that you have insurance makes it even harder for me to believe they care. Giving money over a lifetime that I know I will not use does not give me peace of mind. Is the insurance companies the problem? Nope. The problem is when you get into an accident and somebody who hits you doesn't have the resources to pay for your car, you end up having to pay for it. And the person that hit your car will walk away. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be that if you hit a car, you take care of it. I think that there would be less accidents. It's just holding the right people responsible for their own behavior. But then again, isn't this what this message has been about so far? Those who are responsible are not necessarily held responsible for their behavior. Well, that's it for today. Remember, it's not what you find wrong or disagree with regarding these messages, but what you can take away from them. Together we can do more to impact the kingdom than if we work alone. Let's flip the script and kill, steal, and destroy the works of the enemy and create space for the light of life to shine through into people's lives. Plant a seed and click on the like and subscribe button. Let's build this ministry together. Thanks, and see you next time in Deep Water.